Barbados Prime Minister spoke in London on Tuesday about the need for reparations and liked the King's earlier comment. King Charles said the time has come to recognize the consequences of long slavery. Mottley said that slaveholding countries owed Barbados $4.9 trillion, £3.9 trillion. She said negotiations on how that debt should be repaid will be difficult and will take time. We don't expect reparations to be paid in a year, 2 or 5 because wealth extraction and damages have been happening for centuries. But we demand to be seen and heard, she said. Mottley met with David Cameron on Tuesday. She did not share the Foreign Secretary's views on Britain's slavery debt. I'm not going to go into the details of our conversation. Suffice it to say that I think the Foreign Secretary will follow His Majesty's lead, she said. During a speech at the International Inequality Institute at the London School of Economics, she repeatedly praised King Charles's apparent willingness to stand up to slavery. Her belief in the King's openness to discussion stems from a speech he gave in June 2022 to a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda. The King spoke of his personal grief at the suffering of so many people and how he continues to strengthen his understanding of the impact of long slavery. He added, "To build a shared future that benefits all our citizens, we too must find new ways to acknowledge our past. This is a conversation whose time has come." There was no mention of financial reparations in the speech. Since becoming Prime Minister in 2018, Mottley has become an influential voice around the world. She champions the legacy of colonialism and has helped turn the call for reparations into a major political issue. Citing calculations from a Brattle Group report that takes into account the wealth and GDP accumulated by countries that enslaved Africans, she noted that Britain owes $24 trillion in reparations to 14 countries affected by transatlantic slavery. Spain owes $17.1 trillion. France owes $9.2 trillion and the Netherlands owes $4.86 trillion. These figures, when taken out of context, may seem staggering. But compared to the total wealth accumulated over a period of time, these numbers are actually minuscule, Mottley said. Addressing the historical legacy of slavery will allow the global community to move forward rather than languish in the shadow of a shameful history, she said. Mottley said that in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement and the assassination of George Floyd in 2020, the call for reparations became urgent. For the first time, the world has realized that we can no longer ignore the trauma of 4 centuries of enslavement and barbarism and stripping people of their humanity, she added. I want to commend the King for having the courage to realize that the time for this conversation has come. She was more reserved about some recent promises to pay reparations made by institutions in Britain. She questioned whether the £100 million fund announced earlier this year by the Anglican Church to combat historic links in the slave trade was adequate. I want to thank the Church of England for agreeing to pay £100 million. The only difficulty is that there has been no conversation and the difficulty remains that it may not come to a payment, she said. Rishi Sunak rejected suggestions that Britain should pay reparations for its role in slavery. He stated that trying to excavate our history is the wrong way forward and it is not where we will focus our energies. During a 2015 trip to Jamaica, Cameron acknowledged that slavery was abhorrent in all its forms. But he expressed hope that we can rid ourselves of this painful legacy. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss new articles and videos. Thank you for your likes and comments.